Now on this channel, we do love a small performance car from the Volkswagen Group, whether it's an R32 from 2005 or an RS3 from 2023. I've always aimed to cover as much about them as possible. They started out in the form of reviews, but in the last few years, I've dedicated more of my time to project style content on these cars, allowing me to actually get my own hands dirty and learn how they're put together rather than just reading about them online. But then there I was last month, just going about my business, deciding what parts I need for the Passat, and then a very interesting email landed in my inbox. It was from the guys at AUDI UK, and it was along the lines of, would you like to come to Germany and drive the all-new AUDI S3 facelift? Now bear in mind, I've never been on any of these press launches that you see many channels regularly attending. I obviously said yes, because why wouldn't you? And also it's just quite rewarding to finally get recognized by a brand whose cars I've been filming for many years now. Maybe it was just meant to be, as the previous S3 facelift is actually what started off my channel in the first place. So the plan stated that I have full access to a car for 2 whole days with an overnight stay near the Bavarian Alps. Yes, I know, pretty cool. I figured the best way to maximize my time on this trip was to actually get a flight the night before day 1. But of course, this swiftly went south as my flight got cancelled after I checked in and I was waiting at the gate. Now, thankfully, the guys at Audi Germany were very understanding, so I managed to reschedule for the following afternoon as that was the earliest next flight, arriving pretty much at the end of the first allocated day with the car. Bit of a bummer, but let's be honest, if there's a car I can understand quickly, it's an Audi S3. Just expect less flybys. The collection point for the car was at the Audi training center within Munich Airport itself. They had the full facelift A3 range on display, including the new lifted all-street model. And because I was late and every other journalist had long gone and was enjoying their car on German roads, I got to wander around and take a look at everything in a bit more detail, including this very interesting animated display showcasing the Magna Rear diff, aka torque splitter, arguably the biggest new feature of the facelift S38Y. This is indeed the exact same unit found in the RS3 and the MK8 R, albeit without a drift mode, but rather a new dynamic plus mode that is a bit more rear biased. So there were 2 choices of S3 spec on this launch. The Sportbacks were finished in Daytona grey matte with black optics, and the saloons were finished in Ascari blue with aluminium optics. Both of these colours have existed prior, but they're now a new addition to the A3 range, and typically I'd associate them with something like an RS6 Performance, but yeah, here they are now on an S3. I figured the Sportbacks would probably be gone first as they're the more sportier looking option, but nope, they actually specifically allocated one to me, which was a nice touch. It's almost like they knew I wanted to drive the Sportback. So yeah, I hopped into the first left-hand drive car I've ever driven and headed down to the hotel ready for day 2, and fast forward to the next morning, scattered at a location where I could do a walk around. Now a quick little reminder before I show you the rest of the exterior, make sure you go down and click subscribe if you do enjoy content like this. Hopefully we'll head out on more trips like this as the channel progresses, and we also have all the project stuff still to continue. Right, so S3 Sportback, of course there's no 2-door variant anymore. It's very stealth looking, I'll be honest, because one, it's got winter wheels on it. That was because of the sudden change of weather. I think last week the press drives, the weather was okay, so they were on the summer wheels, so 19-inch. But yeah, that combined with the fact that there's no longer an S3 badge at the front, it almost, yeah, you could blink and maybe think it's an A3. That's my honest take. If you've got the aluminium optics, you can tell it's an S car because this lower blade here is in silver and also the mirrors are in silver. But when you've got this kind of combo, it's hard to tell, I'll be honest folks. But yeah, we've got new matrix LED headlights with the configurable top strip. I'll throw in an overlay of the different patterns you can get. Grille is more of a flatter design. They wanted to go for a wider look, that's what they were telling me, with all of these L shapes everywhere. And also the badge is now 2D and kind of goes into the bumper. It's been split opinions on this car online. Some people haven't really received it well, mainly because of the lack of the S3 badge, which I can get. Also another thing, we've got the S3 Sportback TFSI Quattro logo in the B pillars. Apparently that was one of the reasons for removing that badge, because it's more of a subtle vibe. But yeah, around the back I think they have gone to town because it's a lot more aggressive. Just realised how much of a mess I've created on the back. You can't really avoid it. I do like the fact that we've got snow next to an S3. It's just a bit of deja vu. So new S3 badge, the S has now moved off the rhombus. Unfortunately now the A3 also has this, so I don't know what's going on there. New tail lights with a slightly different pattern. I believe the indicator strip is the same though. I think it would be cool to see maybe the spoiler off the RS3 carbon black, the one that's kind of has a dip in the middle. It may go well with this Daytona grey paintwork. But yeah, that diffuser is where everything changes. You're never going to miss the fact that there's 4 exhausts visible as well, which are of course provided by Krapovic titanium back box. I don't know if you can see much of that there. 310mm rear discs, I think they're the same. They haven't changed for a while. And the 357mm discs up front with the 2-piston caliper, identical to what you'd find on the GTI Club Sport and MK8 GOLF R. As a pre-facelift 8Y still had the 8V brakes, which is 340mm. Now, whilst we're on the topic of safety and keeping the car in one piece, I just want to take a minute to thank today's video sponsor, Car Vertical. Now, if you're not already familiar with Car Vertical, it's essentially a website that allows you to obtain a full history check on any car. All you got to do is enter your registration or the VIN. And to give you an idea of how it all works, we're going to take a look at a report on an S3. Okay, so we've got the report loaded up. It essentially gives you a breakdown of the particular car. So it tells you whether or not the odometer's got any problems, i.e. mileage issues, such as it being clocked back, or the financial legal status. So that could be stuff like outstanding finance, etc. But we have got an exclamation marker next to the damage icon, so let's take a look at that. So yeah, it says it was an insurance write-off, and it tells us that it was damaged, which is very convenient. And also the fact that it happened in January of 2019 and it was put down as a category S. But thankfully with this report we can head over to the photo section and just see how bad it was. Yeah, the first photo was a bit misleading. I thought it was probably going to be fine. Maybe if you strip this back it might be okay. Actually no, the sill is had it. Engine bay okay, so that's the EA888 Gen 3. Yeah, maybe it's back on the road, who knows. Had a bit of a knock, but at least with these reports you can tell whether or not this car comes up for sale, because the seller might say it's been repaired to a high standard, and at least you know where it's been hit. If they say it was just a back bumper and you now know that it was front driver's side, you can have a better look in that general area. But yeah folks, that's Car Vertical in a nutshell. Nice and easy to use, and I have got a little special link which is down below in the description. If you click on that and then use my code, which is TRH, what that'll do is it'll save you 20% off your next report. But yeah, big thanks to them for their continued support of the channel. Let's see what this new S3 is like to drive. We'll start off in here. Now, I'm not too sure how much of the stuff you're seeing will apply to the UK market, because as we know, we tend to get more of the boring color options these days. It's the best way for me to put it. The RS3 is a good example. We don't get the RS design pack at all. But yeah, this S3's got the flat bottom steering wheel, which is pretty much identical to the one you get on the 8V facelift. The button here is a bit different, the star one. The other thing I have noticed with that is you can no longer program it to the drive select. So if I hold it, you used to be able to assign it to drive select on the old S3. Is what it is. You've got to go down here and press another button. But we've got to be thankful that we've got an arrangement of buttons. The climate panel is all nice and tactile. This looks exactly the same as a pre-facelift 8Y. I did have a good chat with the team at Audi when we were in Munich about the main differences, and they said the screen's the same, but you get apps if that's something you're into. I don't know if that's going to locate right now. I'll throw in a little overlay. You can install YouTube, Spotify, all of that without your phone. There you go. But yeah, in terms of drive select, if we head over there, we've got auto, which is what it's currently in, comfort, efficiency. Oh look, it's all green. We've got individual, which is all of your configurable settings. So you now got torque splitter on there like the RS3, drive system, suspension. So we've obviously got DCC on this particular car. But yeah, dynamic is the new mode for the facelift. So you got dynamic plus. That, however, is not a drift mode. So it makes it more rear biased, but it's not a full drift mode like torque rear on the RS3. Because look, even when you press it, there's no it's only racetrack use, whatever. Stability control does go into sport though, which is cool. We have got changes in regards to the shift. I don't know what to call that. Before I had a little tab for you to press, but now it's completely flush, and the parking button is a bit nicer, to be honest. This looks very Lambo-esque. Down there, USB-C, that all looks the same. You have got cup holder lighting now, which I'm sure was on my 8V, and it wasn't probably on the 8Y pre-facelift, so some of the stuff has been brought back. And then, of course, on the door cards, you've now got Sonos as the optional speakers. There's no longer Bang & Olufsen. I haven't really used it long enough to give you my opinion on that, but the B&O on the pre-facelift 8Y did, to me, feel like a bit of a downgrade to the 8V. So hopefully this brings some of it back. We've got a little logo on the tweeter there. And yeah, they were saying these vents are new. This particular car hasn't got the Alcantara trim up here, but that was on the Ascari saloon. I think that'll really set this off. And yeah, you've also got this configurable light pattern on the door card. So subtle, but then it wasn't a bad interior to start with. Maybe a bigger screen could have been ideal, but then where would it go? You'd have to redesign the dash, so I can see why they left it as such. Have a look at the engine bay. Right, so first things first, we have a bonnet strut, which wasn't an issue anyway on the pre-facelift, but it is an issue if you got a MK8 GOLF. The engine cover's a lot nicer than what you get on the Golf though. It is a flexible material. Maybe Audi didn't have any issues with the whole fire problem. Engine though, pretty much identical to the Golf R 20 years edition. Leave it down to the fact that they have the turbo spooling sooner and always ready to go, the 333 PS. Yeah, it's all provided by the EA AAA Gen 4 and the Continental Turbo back there, which we've got a bit of experience on the channel. There's some other differences as well, like the suspension geometry up front's changed. But again, I think it's all stuff that was on the MK8 GOLF R. I'm just going to be honest, that's how I view it. It's just about bringing the 8Y more into line. Yes, the horsepower gap is now closer to the RS3. That's a totally different vehicle. The extra cylinder, I mean, they could have the same power and it's still a totally different car. They're pitched differently, and I did have a chat about the facelift RS3 with them, but they're not spilling any information yet, so we'll have to wait on that. Right then, so in the S3, we've got it all in its normal modes, just cruising along. We're in this local town. I believe it's pronounced Tegernsee, but I probably completely obliterated that. Driving on the right-hand side isn't something that I've never done before. I actually drove in Germany in my own RS3, but it was right-hand drive. So, yeah, left-hand drive is a bit interesting. But when you're driving like this, folks, I'll be honest, it's like any other normal A3, S3, that kind of thing. They keep the formula pretty much the same, so it doesn't just turn into something that's harsh and what have you just because they introduce new modes. You can just cruise around, and you can tell there's an EA AAA under your foot. It makes that same kind of rumbling sound, even having an Acura and all of that. Gearbox is quick, as you'd expect. It's 7-speed DQ381. They first debuted that in the 8V facelift, which is what I had. But it's just crazy how similar the cars are in a way, especially when you've got the same steering wheel. But we're stuck behind a caddy right now, and it's starting to snow again, so we shall see. You get a nice little roar. Get a bit of the I wonder if the standard car has as pronounced overrun, because the MK8 GOLF R does have overrun as well from factory, but without a soft limiter, this has a soft limiter. With that, even if you don't have the Akrapovic, it still is pretty loud, as I found out. Right, let's put it into Dynamic Plus, because we haven't got much time left with the car. It does feel quite skinny on these tyres. Alright. That's got some shove. Fair play. It's good for an S3. I say that, I had tons of fun in my old one. Oh, it's got an air limiter. Okay, now we're getting cracking. This is a lot like the Nürburgring mode in the MK8 GOLF R. I want to see how long it could hold it. It didn't like that. Alright, let's go. Oh, that's violent. That was a proper jolt on first to second change. I didn't know they injected this sort of character into the S3. Even the 8Y RS3 don't do that. The jolt, I love that. The fact that it's got this added character. This Dynamic Plus has changed it for sure, no question. I'm not even just saying it, folks. Like, this is an aggressive car in that mode, and it's always ready to go as well. Put it back into S Auto, so we don't have to change gears. See what I mean? Very efficient, very efficient. Yeah, it's a great car for standard. You know, there's this endless chase for power nowadays. Everyone just has 500 or wants 500 horsepower minimum and everything. This at 230 PS, 33, is a good proposition. Especially when you can knock it into a limiter like that. That always used to be an RS thing. Yeah, Audi's done well with this. Whatever you think about the badge and all of that, and the looks, this is a well sorted car. I don't want to get too carried away. I can feel the tyres don't have much grip at all. It's almost creating tracks now where the snow's starting to land. It's all throwbacks, isn't it, folks? Yeah, you can see the diff will push you around. It's sending power to the outer wheel for sure. You can feel what that diagram was showing. It's not a gimmick at all. It's something that wasn't present on the pre-facelift. I'm just thinking now, I'd love to drive this on the summer tie option. Maybe a 4S or a Goodyear Super Sport, or that's a legit a road crossing. From what I saw on the Ascari Blue Saloon, it had Bridgestone Potenza Sport, which is the tyre of choice that they use for the RS3 as well. The RS3 has that plus the Pirellis. Oh, we've got a tunnel bridge. It's alright for sure. You can have a lot of fun in the new S3 facelift, believe me folks. Even though I've been like into RS3s and tuning them and this and that last few years, it doesn't mean you can't get in a standard car and still have fun. Audi is doing their best, I'm sure. They've still obviously, like any manufacturer, they've got limitations with OPF and all of that. But you need to drive one. It's a lot better than before. Alright, weather is absolutely atrocious now. I don't think it's going to get any better. I'm going to probably head my way back to Munich airport. So yeah, I think we'll end the video here, folks. There's a bit of a short one potentially. I'm not too sure how much clips or the length of the clips I've got. But all I gotta say is what a pleasure to be invited out by Audi to test the all-new S3. It's as I expected, if not maybe a bit sharper than I thought. All these sort of aggressive kicks on upshift and the way it claws into the ground, for sure it's from a technical perspective it's a big jump up, and it now matches its sibling vehicle. But if you want more of an understated car, this is one for you. It's totally different to the RS3, that's for sure. I try not to compare too much to that because it's a bit pointless doing that. The extra cylinder in the RS3 is its defining point. But yeah, let me know if you enjoyed seeing a review again. I'm a bit rusty, so I do apologize if it doesn't flow as well as it should. I've got a tractor there where I wanted to go. But yeah, drop a like on it, subscribe for more to come, check out all the Instagram pages and everything down below the description, whatever I've put there. And yeah, I'll see you soon.